In today's Complaint Corner, Thor Ragnarok. This is Critically Complained. Hi, I'm Adam, and this is Steve, and as always with our reviews, we're going to be talking about the goods, the bads, and then our overall opinion on the whole thing. So we'll start with the goods. And I remember last time I let you start, so I'm going to start with the goods this time. I feel really conflicted on this one, but I'm going to say it anyway because it is something I liked. I thought this movie was really, really funny. And I would say at least 90% of the time, the jokes landed for me. So I liked that. I like laughing. It was nice. I feel conflicted on this, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. But for the most part, the jokes were funny. Compared to let's say Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where some of the jokes were just kind of dumb. This one, I actually was just like, hey, no, that was really funny.
I
don't know.
I agree.
Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't give you 90% probably, but
maybe
I'll give
70.
you a majority of the percent. How about that?
Majority. Cool. Fair enough. Yeah. So and that's really all I have to say about it. It is funny. Oh wait, before we go any further, spoilers. We are going to spoil everything. There is nothing we won't talk about. This is your warning. So Asgard is gone, gets blown up.
Yeah.
I already warned you. So now we know. I want to say more about the comedy, but I'm going to save that for our for our negatives later.
I think I know where you're headed with that one, but all right.
Yeah, I think you know where I'm going, but I'm just going to leave it at that for now. So now
okay.
you can go ahead.
All right. So one of the things I liked this one, and this is really just more compared to the other one, I like that this one actually had something that felt like a consequence to the story rather than kind of being its own thing. Because the problem with the first Thor movie, I mean, as far as I'm concerned anyway, was that it was really detached from everything else. It didn't really feel, or I suppose the other two Thor movies, I keep forgetting there was a second Thor movie in there. But, I mean, the first one especially was really not impactful on the other ones, you know?
Yeah. Really, the first Thor movie, its whole purpose was introducing you to Thor and Loki and that whole concept of Asgardians.
Yeah.
And it did that. That's what it wanted to do, and it did that. The actual plot of the movie was not important at all. I don't even... if I wasn't such a huge nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff, I wouldn't even remember most of what happened in the first Thor. I know, there was this big destroyer thing that Thor destroyed at the end, and I know that they took his body and made a weapon out of it in the Avengers, and that's
basically
it.
Yeah.
I remember that Thor got a human girlfriend who I never liked and thought was super
okay,
annoying.
Oh yeah, that's another third one. So
yeah, yeah. I agree with you though. I think that this one felt the most interconnected and this one feels important.
Yeah.
It feels like if you skipped Thor Ragnarok, you would be confused when you saw Infinity War, because it's Thor doesn't have his hammer anymore. Asgard is gone. Thor has electricity powers that you didn't even realize he had. I'm thinking back, he never used any electricity powers without the hammer. Ever. So now it's oh no, he was the one with the electricity powers, not the hammer itself.
Okay, that was actually one of my things later, but that's fine.
Really?
Basically that was just what I wanted to say about that. Is it's more interconnected, and I like that.
Yeah, and actually to kind of tie into that, things that are different about this movie than the previous Thor movies, I liked that this one had a personality. The other ones are really bland.
Oh yeah, they really are.
They're just kind of there. It's just it's Thor and stuff, and it's I should care about this, but most of the time I don't really. At least this one, for the most part, I did care about what was going on. I enjoyed this one a lot. I was invested in the story. And Thor in this one actually has a personality, which is a huge plus. My only complaint about his personality in this one is that I wish that he had this personality much earlier. You know what I mean? It feels weird that this like cocky goofball that we see in this movie is the same person that he was in like the first Thor movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I know that he was cocky in the first Thor movie, like he was like full of himself, but he wasn't this goof. Like the only thing that I can kind of say about that is maybe spending time with Tony Stark made him more into a goof, so maybe I can kind of justify it that way, but
I mean,
I don't know.
maybe well, he did kind of go under a sort of paradigm shift there between, you know, like self-righteous tool to like goofy action hero kind of thing. But I
Yeah.
don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I don't necessarily buy that a real person would do that, but from a perspective of I want this character to be better, I'm willing to just accept that that's what happened.
It's exactly it, yeah. And that's actually true of a lot of things with this movie. There's a lot of things where it's just like, do I think that this is the character that's been established? Not really, but I enjoy this version so much that I'm just gonna take it anyway. Like it's fine. Don't worry. Like I like Loki in
Yeah,
this
can
one.
we maybe agree that
I
Loki's still the best part of these movies?
Yes. Oh
Okay.
God, absolutely. Loki was like the best thing in this movie. Um and I really liked his relationship with Thor in this movie, where it was kind of like this, how do I describe it? It was this almost bittersweet thing where they both knew that like they might not see each other again in the future. Like that scene that they have in the
Hmm.
elevator. I really liked. And that's okay, I'm just gonna say this. This is kind of a negative, but I wish that there were more scenes like that. I wish that this movie could have spent more time uh, giving me not comedic scenes and just allow the characters to be the characters and allow dramatic moments without undercutting everything with comedy. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, I
Like
get
I
you.
didn't like there was like the comedy was great and they did it well, but the drama in this movie I thought was poorly handled and it didn't quite work. And and I don't want to say anything more about it because I want to save it for the negatives, but yeah. Anyway, Loki and Thor. I liked Thor's new personality and I just like Loki in general. Actually, that reminds me of my next good. I have to say this. I liked pretty much all of the new characters.
Yep, me too.
Valkyrie, thumbs up. Korg, like that rock
Hmm.
monster thing, hilarious, thumbs up. By the way, that guy was played by the director of this movie,
Oh,
Korg.
all right.
Yeah,
You, I mean, that's
and I
not
thought
really
he
what
was
Korg
funny.
was like, though, like at all.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care about what Korg was like. I care about this version of Korg, and I thought he was
Oh,
funny.
me too.
Like, and let me think. What are the other new characters? I mostly liked Scourge. My big problem with Scourge is I kind of wanted more from Scourge. Like he was just like he did you know what Scourge kind of spent like the majority of the time. Like he had a few scenes at the beginning and a few scenes like right at the end, but for the majority of the film he just kind of like walked around watching things happen and looking kind of upset about them, but not
Hmm.
really. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when he was with Hela, who by the way I really liked
Oh,
Hela
yeah.
as well, but when Scourge was with Hela, like he didn't really do or say anything for a long time. He just kind of stood there, and I was like, "Are you gonna are you gonna do something here, guy? Like are you cool with all this? Like
That
Jesus
sounds like a
Christ,
negative, Adam.
I liked his character. I just wish that he had been used more. That's my positive is I liked him. I like Carl Urban, and I thought his character was funny. How he had the two machine guns. Like I thought he was cool. I just wish that there could have been more. It's really hard for me to talk about this movie without talking about negatives because all of my positives, I there's like a negative side to them. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard for me.
Maybe we should revisit the
uh,
formula we use to address these things then. But
yeah,
okay,
maybe.
at any
Yeah,
rate,
that's something we can have that
so you
conversation
so
later.
you like the
I like the
executioner,
new
but you
characters.
didn't like that he wasn't used enough as a
Yes,
character instead of just a
basically.
piece of wood standing in the background.
I
I don't actually.
yeah,
You know what? Now that
and
you say
and
that, I'm trying to remember what he did in the movie. And up until the last scene when he went all apeshit on the mummies, I don't think he did anything at all. He didn't even
yeah,
kill
like
that old lady he was supposed to.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't even do that. Like he pretty much only did he opened the Bifrost at the beginning
Yeah, he did,
to
but
and
he
let Thor in.
himself technically didn't need to do that. Like any Jackoff can do that because they just need the sword
Yeah,
apparently.
literally all you have to do is like turn the sword
Yeah,
and that's it. Uh and I'm trying to think of anything else that he did. I guess he did. One important thing is he didn't fight Hela. He chose to
right. But he
join
also
her at
didn't fight
first.
for her. Like he didn't attack the other Asgardians on her side. He just kind of hung out. So he was more of a
Yeah, it's
passive
true.
observer than an actual impactful
Yeah.
character on any of those fights. Which actually, I have I have a neutral thing to say. I don't know if it's a good or a bad. I'm just
All
gonna can I
right.
just do that during the goods then?
Go
All
ahead.
right.
Just say it. Go
Um,
ahead.
it's weird to me that basically all the established side characters from the previous Thor movies are just gone now. You know, because we saw the Warriors 3
Yeah.
die with it when Helena showed up for like
Yeah, when
6
Hela showed up.
seconds.
Yeah.
Like they just boom boom, two of them are gone, and then like the last guy basically went out when she was,
You know,
killing everybody else.
this is another example of something I'm really conflicted on. On the one hand, I thought that killing off the Warriors 3 so quickly was a really good way of establishing just how powerful
Yeah.
Hela was.
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
But at the same yeah, like it was a cool moment because it's like, these Warriors 3, these guys that we know kind of, like I mean, they were never
Yeah,
really
really more through
important in the
hearsay
previous
we
two
know that they're
movies.
good.
Yeah, like we never really saw them fight other than in like the prologue of the first
Yeah,
Thor movie, and I genuinely don't remember anything that happened
and yeah, and they were
in the
basically just
prologue.
fighting minions. So like,
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought it was a good way of like showing just how powerful she was, but at the same time, I thought it was kind of weird how they just almost immediately throw out all of the previous Thor baggage so that they can, tell their
which I
own
mean, I'm not
story.
that upset about because honestly, I didn't really care about the Warriors 3 at all. But my question
Yeah,
here is,
me too.
where did Sif go?
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. So apparently Sif, like the actress, I can't Jamie Alexander is her name. She was given a script for the movie, like really late in the game, and she was unable to film for it because she'd already signed up to do this like TV show. Like she'd already committed to that schedule. So basically they said like they should have let her know way earlier, but they didn't. So they gave her this script like super late and she was just like, "Sorry, I already have a commitment." So then I wish that they had spent just like two lines asking where Sif is. Like maybe when Thor showed up in the beginning, like when Thor came back to Asgard and he like attacked fake Odin, like maybe at that point somewhere in there he could have been like, "Where's Sif?" And they'd be like, "Oh, we sent her
Oh well, no, I
away,"
wouldn't have done it
like
that way because
something.
then that means she's still alive somewhere.
Well, what, you don't
Well,
want her
no,
to
they're
be
gonna kill off the
alive?
Warriors 3, and Thor has his new lady girlfriend here, the
The
Valkyrie. Yeah, then
Valkyrie.
they can't have Sif anymore. So what I would have done is when they showed up and said, "It's me, I'm Thor, I'm here to save the day," and all that, and who's still alive? And they'll say, "Oh, the Warrior 3s are dead," and he'll be like, "And Sif?" And then they just kind of look down to the ground, all sad, like, and he's like, "Revenge." That's how I would have done it. Because you don't even have to have her in the
Yeah,
movie. Then she
that
just
could work
died
too.
fighting.
Yeah, but to me that would confuse me because all I would wonder is why didn't I get to see her? And I know logically why I didn't get to see her, but like from the logic of the movie, it's just like she's like the only character of like the Warriors 3 and Sif that I actually give a damn about. Like she's the
Well, yeah, I
only one
agree,
who
but I
I
mean, like, if
kind
she's
of
not
care
there, she's
about.
not there. There's nothing we can do about it. I would rather them have just
I'm
pointed it
aware.
out than just have her be absent. Because,
I don't
spoiler
know.
alert,
Yeah.
Asgard's gone, so it's not like she can come back now.
Yeah, but Asgard's also like now like a roving
Yeah, but
colony and like
again,
some
we would have
ship
seen
thing.
her on that ship somewhere. You know?
Well, no, what I'm saying, all I'm saying is, what if she was just off doing some mission or something, and then she can come back later and be
But
like, "What the
come back
fuck
to where?
happened?"
Asgard is gone.
Well, that's just thing.
There's no
It. She
Bifrost
can like
anymore.
look.
She can't
She
return.
can. She'll try to go back to Asgard. She won't be able to go back to Asgard, and then she'll like investigate and be like, "What happened to Asgard?" And then she'll find out that there's this Asgardian ship flying around, and then she'll try to find that ship, and then she'll get on the ship, and she'll be like, "Hey guys, I'm back. What the fuck happened?" And they'll be like, "Oh well, we had to destroy everything." Don't worry about it. Asgard's a people, not a place. It's just like, yeah, but what about my
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. I had a lot of shiny things in that
Like,
place that I would have liked to have back.
God damn it.
But yes, I mean,
I'm a collector. Do you know? Do you have any idea the money you just
I
got?
had
Oh,
so
sorry.
many rare Asgardian baseball cards. But no, that was kind of
Oh
my
god.
good. I don't, well, it wasn't a good, it was a neutral, but that's where I was putting it. Was
Yeah, I feel very conflicted on it as well. Given the fact that I really, really never cared about the Warriors 3, I'm okay with them
Yep.
killing them off. My biggest complaint about it is I just wish that Thor could have had like a moment to mourn them, or at least find out that they were dead. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Actually, yeah, they never
Like
even
when,
addressed
like,
that to him.
yeah, they never addressed it, and
You
I think
think
that that
like
was a
a week
mistake.
later while he was on the ship, he's like, "Hey, where are my friends?" Like, "Oh, they died." It's like, "Oh,
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
oh,
Oh yeah, you weren't here. You were off on Sakaar fighting in a gladiator battle against Hulk.
yeah, dick."
Oh, and actually, that reminds me. That's my. You gave your neutral, but this is absolutely a good. I loved Hulk, and I loved everything having to do with him in the movie. Everything. Well, okay, except for one thing, but I'll get to that later. I loved Hulk. I loved Banner turning back into Banner and being like, "What happened? Did Sokovia?" And he's just like, "Dude, that was like 2 years ago. No one gives a shit anymore."
Did we
I
win?
liked. Yeah, I liked the fight between them in the gladiator arena. In my opinion, that was the high point of the movie. Was their big gladiator fight? I thought that was freaking phenomenal. I loved every second of that fight, and I'm really glad it was like it was longer than I was expecting. Like like the way they did it in the trailer was like, it's like he's a friend from work, and then they like do like, and then he ran at him with the lightning, and then Thor, and then like they both punched each other, and then they flew back. Like that happened at the end of the fight. There was like a good 5 minutes between those two things, and I really enjoyed that. Basically, I loved everything having to do with the gladiator stuff and Hulk being a gladiator and Hulk talking. Oh my god. Hulk was great. I'm so glad that he can talk now. I was so sick of him
Well, he
not
kind
talking.
of
I'm so
spoke in the
I
other ones, but usually there wasn't a lot of time
sort
for him to
of.
say things.
Like in the very first Hulk movie, in Incredible Hulk, he said Hulk smash right at the end. And in Avengers, he said puny god. And other than that, I'm pretty sure he never spoke. That's the only two I
All
can
right, yeah, I
remember.
guess.
He might have had a line here, like maybe in Age of Ultron. I really don't remember, but I really, really am glad that he actually has a personality now in this movie. I thought that that was freaking awesome. He was so funny and he was so likable, and I felt bad for both Hulk and Bruce. Like I didn't want either of them to go away. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like I
And
don't
they
know. Like they were
certainly
just
were really spoon feeding you the idea that Banner really isn't Banner now. He's basically just Hulk now.
yeah, that was kind of weird. I okay, do you I don't believe for a single millisecond that we're not going to see Banner again.
No,
Like
I'm sure
no
we will,
fucking
but
way.
they really wanted you to
I
have the idea in your head that it might just be a
He's
permanent Hulk
done.
mode now.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I actually didn't like that. I prefer the dynamic between them. Like I've always wanted there to be like a moment where in like maybe in their mind somehow the two of them can meet and talk to each other,
Yes.
and then like
And
and then
then
maybe they could have
Naruto can break the seal and finally become friends with the Nine Tails and use his chakra freely.
well, actually, similar to that is what I want. I want them to meet, have like some kind of a conversation in their mind, and then they like come to some sort of an understanding, and then we can get it so that Banner's intellect can be like at the forefront while he's in
Oh, they already
Hulk
had a
mode.
Hulk
Get the
that did
best of
that.
both worlds. I don't. Yeah, but we haven't seen that in the movies, and that's what I want to see. Okay,
Uh,
shut
I
up.
disagree.
I'm okay.
I like it better when they're separate.
Really?
I don't mind the whole like having the talk in the brain about like hey, I don't like you, you don't like me, but let's work together to do this thing. I don't really want
Mm-hmm.
it to be Banner and Hulk's body though. I like the idea of the Hulk that just likes to hit things.
Ah,
It's just more
fair
interesting
enough.
that
But,
way.
like, it could be like a temporary thing. Like maybe in the big climax of Infinity War, they like they go in their mind's eye and they decide to work together. So like it's not Banner in Hulk's body, but it's Hulk who has access to Banner's intellect. Like he can sort of have like Banner can see through his eyes and be like, oh, go to
Okay,
the right, go to the
that I
left.
wouldn't
Oh,
mind so much.
press
It's
that
sort of like a on
press
his
that
shoulder
button.
thing. I wouldn't mind that, I guess, as long as he didn't have like
Yeah.
direct control.
Yeah, I agree that having direct control would be a little bit weird, but I'm just saying I want them to work together. I like that's what I really want, and I'm glad that at least in this movie we established that Hulk does have a personality other than rah psh, psh. I want Hulk to be a little bit more than just that. I prefer this raging but somewhat intelligent version that we get in this movie. Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, I'm getting way off topic now, but Hulk,
Hulk
good.
is
I
good.
like.
Yes.
Yes. So you can go ahead. Any
I
more
think I'm
goods
pretty
you got?
tapped out on the goods. I can't think of any more at the moment. I mean, it was a
Okay.
good
I'm trying to
movie,
think
but
of.
I just tapped out on
I'm
specific
trying to think
goods.
of any other goods. I haven't really talked about it too much. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but Hela. I just wanted to take a second to talk about Hela. I thought she was really
Yeah,
kind of
she was
awesome.
great. I
Actually,
liked her a lot.
she wasn't like the best villain by any means, like that I've ever seen, but she was definitely the best Thor villain. I mean, unless you count Loki, but I don't know. Yes, Loki is probably the best Thor villain overall, but I would say like on a movie by movie basis, I thought she was the best
One-off villain.
Thor villain. Yeah, like one-off villain. I
I
thought she
liked
was
her a lot
great.
too.
Uh
My real only
yeah,
complaint about her is her helmet.
Oh, really? I actually really
No,
liked
no.
the
Whenever
helmet.
she did the hair thing
I
to turn the helmet on, I was like, oh, but you were better before. It's like the Enchantress.
Really?
It's like,
I
just stay the
actually
way you looked before we started.
Hey, at least she's not belly
I
dancing
guess,
while
but
she's
still.
has the helmet on. I actually liked the helmet. I thought it
Eh.
was cool. I didn't like the way that the helmet like went around her eyes. This is like the stupidest nitpick ever. But I didn't like the way they went around her eyes because like it just looked weird to me. I would prefer if it was just like attached to like her eyebrows or something and it didn't go all the way down like making this weird circle under her eyes. Sorry, that's a really stupid thing, but I noticed it when I was watching the movie. Um but yeah, I liked the helmet. I preferred her with the helmet, if I'm being honest. I thought her hair looked kind of dumb. Where she just looked like a super goth
I
emo,
know,
like
wasn't it awesome?
and all I could think of finding out that she was Thor's sister is just like it's not a phase, Dad. I want to conquer the universe, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I just want to
that's
kill
all
and
I could
maim.
think of.
God, you never understand.
I Mm, I gotta talk about that later, but I really liked her character and I liked her backstory. It's definitely not what I was expecting going into the
Nope.
movie to find out that not only is she Thor's sister, like older sister, but like she was the one who basically made Asgard. She was the one who went to war with Odin so that they could
Alongside
like
Odin.
conquer the nine. Alongside Odin, so they could conquer the nine realms and create this amazing kingdom. And it's something that you never really thought about before, but it's like, yeah, how did Asgard get made? Like, how did that come to be? And it's like, well, now we have our answer. It was through blood and war. And so that's why we have this goddess of death who is like their general during this time. And I almost wish we could have had more backstory with Odin. Like, I kind of want to know what made him change his mind to become more benevolent instead of just this warmonger. Like, I feel like he's such an interesting character in theory that I've always been disappointed with the way he was handled in these movies. Like he never really has a moment to like shine, you know what I mean? And I understand that Anthony Hopkins like views this as a paycheck and doesn't really give a damn, but I don't know. Just from a story perspective, I could use more from him. It's like I want to know what's going on here. Like you might think this is the worst idea ever, but if they decided to recast Odin and have like a prequel, I would be okay with that. I want to know more about him. Like he's intriguing.
Then I
I
don't
don't
know. Google.
Do you not Google? I don't want to. I don't want to read. I don't want to read the backstory. I want to see it. I want a movie, I want like a prequel movie. I think that they could get away with it if they wanted to. I'm sorry. This is stupid. Whatever. So let's move on to our bads.
Okay.
So I'll let you go first since I
All
started
right,
the other
I
one.
have I
So
have
you go
more
ahead.
neutrals, but they're leaning more towards the bad than good this time, I suppose. So I guess I'll start with that.
Fair enough. All
So
right.
one of the things that was kind of cool about the movie after Thor's hammer got all busted up and stuff, which by the way I'm not over. I don't like that the hammer stayed broken, but
Oh, okay.
one of the things
Fair.
that
Fine.
they kept trying to pull here was, oh, the power was in you all along, and it's like, oh, okay, here's Odin, and it's like, oh, flashback, flashback, I'm the god of thunder, and then lightning happens or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
But okay, how I thought that was supposed to be happening was, since Odin was dead, that would make Thor the king, so he should have access to the Odin Force, which is what I thought they were trying to do.
Oh.
But no, it's just
Oh.
him having the lightning powers, like without the hammer, which is fine, I guess. It's just,
That,
I was kind of hoping that was supposed to be more, like he was gonna be like, oh, okay, I am the king of Asgard, so I will throw out this usurper or something. But no, it's just
actually,
yeah.
yeah. I kind of agree with you. I do think that the Odin Force being what he was accessing would be interesting.
Especially since they kept showing
But
Odin there, and it's like, oh, okay, so he's like,
yeah.
passing it on or whatever. But
While
no, it's just
while
kind
we're
of
at it, I didn't really like the way like the kind of nonchalant way at the end where it's like, oh yeah, and Thor's king now, by the way. Like it was just like this is something they've been building to for a long
since like
time,
the
and then
first
he
10 minutes
just
of the
is
first movie.
king. Yeah, like this is something that they've been building. Like yeah, in the first movie, he's about to be crowned, but then he goes off and is a dick, and then Odin is just like, yeah, no, you're not ready. Um, and then he does all of the shit, and then Thor goes on this big epic multi-movie quest to better himself. And now at the end of this movie, Odin dies, and then a bunch of shit happens, and he goes to a gladiator planet, and then he makes Ragnarok happen, and now he's king.
Yep.
Like he's king, everybody, and they spent zero time like basking in this crazy thing. Like I feel like this movie was really rushed. Like there's a lot of plot points.
Yeah,
That I
that's one
think
of
that
my
they
other
have just
bads for
given it.
later, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I'll just that's my bad
Oh,
right
okay.
now. This movie was really rushed. Because like there's a lot of things where I think if you would just give it like an extra like a minute or two for a couple of plot points would have been way better. Like just spend a little bit more time, please. Like it reminded me of it was reminding me of something, and now I can't seem to remember what it was. What was the other thing that was super rushed I saw recently? I can't remember, so I'm not gonna spend forever trying to remember. But like I'm trying to think of specific scenes in this movie that I thought were really rushed. I thought that the death scene with Odin was a little too quick. Like, why did Odin die?
Why was Odin alive?
Like,
Actually,
like
was the question.
that's the question.
Yeah, I
You have?
thought for
Why is
sure
Odin
that Loki had
alive?
just killed him, but he just stuck him in a retirement home. Which, don't get me wrong, was
I think
funny.
that
But at the same time, it's like, okay, but why didn't you just kill him though?
no, I think that that kind of speaks a lot to Loki's character and something that's been established since the very first Thor movie. Loki never really hated Odin. He just wanted
Okay, and
recognition
I
from
get
Odin.
that, all right, but like, I don't know. It basically was to serve this story's plot. There's no other reason I can think of why he didn't just kill him outright. Also, how come
I
Odin
suppose.
doesn't have any powers on Earth? Everybody else seems to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like. I don't understand why he died. Like, did he die because he was away
I
from
thought maybe it was
Asgard
because
for
he was
so
mortal
long?
now. Like, he drank the Hercules potion, and now he's basically just a human.
Or is he just like we know that Asgardians, even though that they live for a really long time, they're not actually immortal. They
Right,
can die.
but
Like they do
okay,
eventually
yeah,
die.
but I mean, unless it was just
So did he
conveniently
just
his
die of old
time,
age?
you know?
Yeah, yeah, was it his time? Like I don't know. And I don't know. There's a lot of things there that I wish that we could have had more explanation on. Like, why didn't he spend any time warning them that when he died, Hela was gonna show
Seriously,
up?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he could have spent a lot more time giving them a warning.
I
Or
mean,
something. Like,
unless Asgardians know exactly when they're going to die, like the exact minute, and he knew that he could just like tell them like 10 minutes beforehand because he knew he wasn't going to die in some accident or something, then I guess I could
I mean,
almost see it. But I would have maybe
I
been
mean, they
grooming
kind of
these kids the entire time for, hey, when I die, this super powerful bitch is going to come back for revenge, and she's probably going to take you fools to school. So be ready for that.
Also, this is like a super minor thing. I didn't like how overpowered Hela was. I like basically her powers is she cannot die. Like she gets stabbed several times and it doesn't even affect her at all. She can't die and she can shoot swords out of her
She can do
sleeves.
that.
Like, and that's it. That's basically all she can do. And like they're acting like she's the most powerful thing of all
Well,
time. And
I'd
it's
say
just like,
not being
dude,
able
all
to
she
die
can
is
do.
pretty powerful.
I mean, yeah, I know that that's pretty powerful, whatever. But I wish I could understand why. Why does she have
Why
that
does
power, but no
Thor
one
have
else
lightning
does?
powers?
That's actually another great question. Now that we're at it, why does Thor have lightning powers?
I mean,
Screw
I
it,
mean,
Steve.
it's true
Like
that
these
when they say
people.
they're not actually gods, so therefore they shouldn't have any. I could tell you exactly why they do have it if you'd like.
I'm kind of
It's because of
curious.
the
Yeah, go
Divinity
ahead.
Wave. Yes, which
Really? What does
gave
that mean?
all beings divinity in the universe when it first happened.
Oh, so they're not actually gods, but they basically are
Yeah,
gods.
that's actually a DC thing, not a Marvel thing. I have no idea
Oh,
why they
well,
have
never.
that in Marvel, but whatever. That's the DC explanation. In case you were curious, I have no idea why Thor
I'm
has
sure
lightning
that
powers.
Marvel has an
I'm sure
equivalent.
there was some sort of equivalent event. Yes.
Most of the time, whenever DC or Marvel does something, a few years later, the other one does something very similar to it with just a different name. Like
It's usually a coincidence.
it's
It's
kind.
usually a coincidence.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure.
Okay, but you're
I
right.
don't
She
even
has
remember.
fairly lame powers, but I mean, when you can't die, you can get really good at throwing knives at people. So, I
I
mean,
guess. I don't know. So, hey, you got another good or I
yes,
mean
I
bad,
do.
excuse me. You got another
I don't
bad?
know if you're gonna agree or not, but it's just for me. This is kind of
All right.
springboarding off of your stuff needed fleshing out. This movie felt like it had two plots, and neither of them were like whole.
I
Because
agree.
the World War Hulk thing, as good as the parts of it that we saw were, I would really have liked to see that be its own movie.
I kind of agree.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, the only. Basically, what happens is Thor gets his shit rocked, pops up on this planet to basically pick up Hulk, and then they leave. In the course of, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like a day and a half, you know? And it's like, I mean,
Yep.
yes, Hulk has been there a long time because he's established himself as champion or whatever, but like the whole World War Hulk story arc is really interesting. It's got a lot of characters. Plus, Hulk has a kid. Yeah,
Wait,
Hulk
what?
Hulk fathers a kid with an
I did not
alien
know
lady,
that.
and that becomes Skulk, the kid Hulk or whatever the fuck his name was.
I did not
Yes,
know that this was a
and
thing, but
and then he
okay.
comes back to Earth and he absolutely wrecks everybody because he basically says, "Hey, you guys shot me into space, jackass, so I'm gonna kill all of you," and he fucks up everyone. And it's a really important
Wow.
arc because Stephen Strange stops being the Sorcerer Supreme because he has to make a deal with Dormammu to gain more power just to be able to fight the Hulk, which Hulk breaks his hands so he doesn't cast any spells anymore. And it's just a really important arc that we don't really get to have because they just kind of solved it. You
Yeah,
know?
I didn't know all that backstory, but that does kind of piss me off now that I
Yeah.
know it. But yeah, while we're at it, I agree with you that there's like two storylines. There's the Ragnarok stuff with
Hmm.
Hela, and then they're destroying Asgard to stop her at the end, and then there's the stuff with Hulk, where he's this gladiator now, and Thor has to convince him to join him,
And
and blah blah blah
also
blah blah.
pick up his new girlfriend, which he
Oh yeah,
convinced
that
to
too,
totally
which
turn
is
her life
weird.
around in the course of, like I said, a day and a half.
Yeah, I thought that was weird as well.
But Thor's
Yeah,
got
it's like
godly
it's this
charisma.
weird
That's all it
thing.
is.
It's this weird thing where like I thought that there wasn't enough time spent on Asgard dealing with Ragnarok, but then at least that got a satisfying conclusion, with the destruction of
Right.
Asgard and everything. And then the most of our time was spent on Sakaar with this gladiator stuff, but that doesn't really get a satisfying conclusion. Like I wanted them to have a moment like where they beat up the Grand Master or something. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I wanted there to be a definitive end to that thing, but no, they just kind of leave in the middle of it because it's like, well, we have other shit to deal with, and like this isn't
Basically.
important, so we're just gonna go leave now. And it felt hollow. Like it was just like, no, I like this is the part of the movie I most want to see, and this is the part of the movie that isn't resolved at all. So like what? So Grandmaster Jeff Goldblum quick aside. I absolutely loved him. Holy fucking hell, he was so funny.
Really? Okay, well then maybe I won't say the
Yeah.
next bad thing I was gonna say.
No,
Okay,
go ahead.
I
It's
think
fine.
that
But
the Jeff Goldblum made a terrible Grandmaster or Red King or whatever.
oh
His
no,
entire
no,
okay, I
no,
don't know what it
no.
is about Jeff Goldblum lately, but when I see him in things, I'm like, why? I don't know why,
Are you
but
serious? Oh my
okay,
god, I
okay, but that's
completely don't
only
agree.
because he's nothing like what the Red King was supposed to be like in the actual story. I mean, I'm obviously judging it by that standard,
Yeah,
not its own.
right.
But
I can
it's
understand.
probably because it contributed to the actual disappointment of the World War Hulk thing we got. That I'm probably just rubbing it off on him. It's probably not really his fault, but I don't know. There's a lot about that particular thing that disappointed me when I finally got to see it. And he was a big contributor to that because it's like instead of being like a lying king who I mean he is kind of a liar, but basically the actual story is like he manufactured this plague to fuck up his planet of like flesh eating monster things, and then he like solved it, and so he became king.
Oh,
And basically that was like the
gotcha,
point, and they
gotcha.
kind of did something kind of like that in the movie here with him kind of becoming king by lying, but it was disappointing because he wasn't like he was more like a spoiled prince kind of thing in the other one, like a not
Hmm.
really that good at his job, but just got really lucky fucking everybody over that one time. But Jeff Goldblum in the whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this, but something about him did not gel with me.
All right. Well, from your perspective, which is someone who actually knows the character, I can completely understand why it would bother you that he's not like the way you wanted him to be. From my perspective, as someone who has never even heard of the Grand Master before I saw this movie, I thought he was great. I thought he was hilarious. I I liked this idea that like this is the second. I don't remember what they're called. Like there's Grandmaster and then there's the Collector and I know there's more. What are they called again? I'm sure you
What are we
know.
talking about?
The Grandmaster, like his race. He's a being. He's like a
Oh, yeah, yeah,
celestial. Is
yeah,
that what it
Celestials,
is?
yeah.
Or celestial? Is that what it is? Okay, cool. Like I think it's interesting that we have like the Collector who's like obsessed with collecting things, and then we have the Grandmaster who just likes watching people fight for him. I just think it's interesting that you have like these immortal beings who are bored out of their minds and they just want to be entertained in any way they can. And I also thought that it was kind of cool how it seemed like Grandmaster couldn't taste things. Like there was at one point where he melted the one dude with his melting stick, and then he was just like, "Oh, what does that smell like? What does that smell like?" Like it's like he doesn't even know anymore. Like he's been alive for such a long time, and he's this,
Oh, you were
he's
thinking
like
way
this
more
above.
deeply about that throwaway joke than I
I
was.
really am. I really,
I thought it
really
was
am
just really
overthinking
awkward
it.
Jeff Goldblum comedy.
See, I don't know. I've always liked Jeff Goldblum, so I really liked his awkward comedy in this one. I thought he was just hilarious. If anything, I wish I could have gotten more with him. I loved him. I really did. So I'm sorry. I
No, that's
know
fine. I
I
mean,
we're not going to
whatever.
agree on this,
I'm.
and it's fine. I can
It
completely
probably would have been
understand why
better
you
if they
wouldn't
had
like
made
it.
a whole movie about him being the bad guy. I'm sure it would have been fleshed out a lot more. I'm sure it would have been fine. But
Yes, I actually I think that that would have been the better decision. I feel so conflicted on this. I don't know. Okay, here's if I could kind of I can't speak. Rewrite this whole thing. Here's how I would do it. We have like a Thor 2, right? Theoretically speaking, where at the end of a completely different Thor 2, Odin dies, and he's just like, there's a bunch of shit that's gonna happen now, guys. I'm sorry I didn't warn you before. Your sister is coming. And then basically we have the scene in the beginning where Hela shows up right at the end of Thor 2. Hela shows up, like takes them to fucking town, and and then like throws them out of the rainbow bridge thing, and then
Bifrost.
boom, cut. Yeah, the Bifrost, and then boom, cut the credits. That's it. And then the next movie would be a Hulk movie, but it would be a Hulk movie where with Grandmaster as the villain with a supporting role from Thor.
Ah,
And Thor is just like and then Thor is just like, "Hey man, please, like I need your help. Like some shit happened and I really I need your help, please. Oh my god, like I don't have time for this nonsense." And then the two of them work together and it's just like, "Well, we can't leave unless we take down the Grandmaster." And then they take down the Grandmaster. That's the whole plot of that movie, which is more a Hulk movie than a Thor movie, but Thor has a major supporting role. And then in a theoretical third movie, that's Ragnarok, where they show back up at Asgard. It's absolutely like gone to hell. Like Heimdall is all dreadlocked and has them hiding in the cave
oh,
or
that was
whatever.
Idrisil?
And then they or yeah, Idris Elba.
No, that was the tree they were
Wait.
hiding in.
Oh, is that what they
Yeah,
were?
well, that's what it was
That
supposed
the
to be.
treat there?
I don't know how familiar you are with Norse mythology, but
Not at
during
all.
Ragnarok, the only humans to survive hide inside the trunk of Idrisil, and they become the new Adam of Eve of the new world after the world's been destroyed.
Oh.
Fun fact for the day.
Well,
That's kind of what they were referencing there.
Okay. Well, I did not know that, but that's interesting. So then the third movie would be the Ragnarok movie where they show back up at Asgard. Everything's gone to shit. Meet up with Heimdall in the tree, and then they like have to stage this big revolution. Like Hela's basically already won, and they're trying to figure out a way to defeat her. And then they finally realize, I know what we just have to destroy Ragnarok.
Destroy
not Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
We have to destroy.
Let's just destroy the end of the world.
I can't even think of the name of the damn thing. What's it? Asgard. We have to destroy Asgard, and then they do everything that like I want this movie to be stretched out into like 2.25 movies. That's what I
Also,
want.
yeah, what the fuck is that giant fire dude's name? Surtur?
Sarcher. I
Yeah,
think.
that was awesome at the end there.
Sarcher. That
It's
was
too bad it
pretty
was kind
cool,
of
I'll
wasted,
admit.
but it was really cool. I like that Hulk wanted to
I
punch
also
him.
thought. Yeah, I also thought it was kind of weird how like they had that scene where Hulk tried to punch him in the trailer, and that looked so cool and badass. But then you find out that was just a joke. That like it's like he tries to punch him, and then it's just like, no, Hulk, no, we're letting him do his
giant
thing.
monster.
It's like, oh
No, bad Hulk.
yeah. And I'm gonna kind of go into my bad now, and this is the biggest bad I have with this film, and that is that as good as the comedy is, as I mentioned in the very beginning of all of this,
It tries really, really hard.
the drama is really weak for the most part. Like almost everything is played for laughs, and when it's not being played for laughs, it's boring and uninteresting and really, really bad. And I can't help but compare it to a very similar movie, to the very similar Guardians of the Galaxy films. And love 'em or hate 'em, even the second one, Guardians of the Galaxy knows how to have drama mixed with comedy, in my opinion.
I'll give you that.
Like, I care a hell of a lot more about Groot's death in Guardians 1 and Yondu's death in Guardians 2 than I gave a damn about literally anything else that happened in
Yeah,
Thor Ragnarok.
I care more about Groot's death, not so much his
Yeah.
life again. But yeah, I feel ya.
I thought that was weird. You know what I'm saying? And then in the first Guardians, there was the whole thing with his mom, with Star-Lord's mom in the beginning,
Oh yeah,
and
hang
then
on
at
a
the
second.
end
Did Thor's mom
What?
make it off of Asgard?
No, Thor's mom died in Thor 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Who was the lady
Yeah, don't
sitting
worry
next to Loki while he was disguised as Odin? Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just remembering that scene now.
Some
Because one of the questions I was going to
some
have
bitch,
was,
I
because I
don't
thought she was alive. I forgot she died, to be honest. I was going to be like, okay, so like, does Loki's stepmom ever try to solicit sex from who she thinks is Odin? And then he has to be like, I'm tired, honey, good night.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
That's why I thought it was weird, too. So I was just making sure.
Yeah, I actually, while we're at it, like, how long did Loki spend pretending to be
Kinda feels
Odin,
like a
and how
long
did
time.
no one notice? Yeah, like, that must have been a really long time. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, so the drama. So Guardians of the Galaxy knows how to do drama. With Yondu's death, with Star-Lord's mom, with a lot of different things. Like, it's really good at, like, giving you that gut punch, which makes you care all the more about the different characters. Thor Ragnarok doesn't know how to do drama to save its fucking life. Like, watching Anthony Hopkins Odin die, like I kind of just wanted to look at my watch and just be like, yeah, wow, this scene is like,
Well, I think the
I
problem with
wanted the
that
scene
is
to be
because we
longer.
don't really have anything on Odin as a character to feel bad about.
Yeah. It's weird how I can want that scene to be longer from like a storytelling perspective, but also want it to be shorter because I don't give a shit. Like it's really annoying to me. I feel so conflicted on it, and that's true of like a lot of they destroy Asgard
Hmm.
at the end, and I felt almost
Basically, yeah.
nothing. They destroyed Thor's hammer, and I felt
I mean,
almost
I was bummed
nothing.
about that only because I kind of feel like he sucks without it, but they proved me wrong
Yeah,
because
I
he
mean, he,
doesn't need it apparently. So,
yeah. And like I don't know, like every single emotional moment in this film, with a few small exceptions, like the one scene I liked was I liked the scene between Loki. I mentioned this earlier. The scene between Loki and Thor in the elevator when they're talking about like, we just went on different paths, like, it's okay. Like I thought that was a relatively good scene. And while we're at it, I liked the scene with like the very small Black Widow cameo where they went into the Quinjet and then Thor saw Black Widow and then he went back into Bruce Banner. That was relatively well done. Like it was very
hmm.
quick, but that's about it. Like every other emotional scene I just didn't give a shit about. And hell, if I even ignoring Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange had that great scene where the Ancient One died. Like, Spider-Man Homecoming had that great scene where Tony took away the suit and it was like this, and it was sad and awkward, and it was just like, I just wanted to be like you, and he's like, no, I wanted you to be better. Like that was a good emotional scene. Every single fucking movie that I can think of in the MCU, with a few exceptions, has good emotional moments except for this one. This one's just funny, but at the end of the day, like funny, being funny only gets you so far, like it's really hard for me because I know a lot of people really like this movie, and I know a lot of people think it's one of the best Marvel movies they ever made, but I can't give it that. I can't in good conscience say that. Like I thought it was one of the most enjoyable Marvel movies. It's definitely a fun to watch, and it's something that I definitely want to see again, but I can't say it's one of their best just because I think it's kind of hollow at the end of the day. You know what
Yep,
I mean?
I don't know who's saying it's one of the best. I thought it was good. I don't know if it was one of the best. I probably wouldn't even slot this in top five.
Yeah, I would not give it top 5. Maybe I could probably say top
Probably,
10 just
but there are
because
not
I
that many
I
Marvel
really
movies
did
to pick
enjoy it.
from. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. There's like what?
I mean, we're getting there
16
now,
now?
but some
I
of
don't
them are
know. Like
quite
I would
stinkers.
say
So
I would say it's definitely upper
yeah,
half.
that's fair.
Like
But okay, I
it's
well,
probably not.
I have
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Sorry. Go
expand
ahead.
off of what you said there because for me personally, and I said it earlier that I didn't agree that it was as funny as you, and I agree about the drama thing that it wasn't that great, but I feel like I don't know if this was a conscious decision or not, but I feel like they were trying to crank up the levity to make up for the fact that the other ones didn't have it as much. Because
Hmm.
okay, like this set a bad tone for because there are parts of it that were real funny, and it's like okay, all right, yeah, I'll give you that one. Like I really enjoyed the whole exchange with Doctor Strange. You know, that whole thing there where he's just like teleporting
Oh, really?
around, and
Yeah.
then it's like and then
I have a minor nitpick about that, but
okay.
yeah,
In
that it was
general, I
fun. It was good.
appreciated that one. But it's like in the beginning when Thor's falling through the chains or whatever, and he's talking to or before he's talking to the skeleton man, he's animating himself like a damn high school anime, and then he falls in the chains, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, and then he like is spinning in place there, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, that's kind
Yeah.
of funny, I guess, yeah, and then he comes back around, and then
Ha.
and then they do it again. It's like, okay, it wasn't even that great the first time. You can't. It's trying too hard, I think, is the point here, because it was,
Yeah, I
or like
agree with that.
Hulk had some great lines too, but actually, you know what? One of the ones was when when Banner tries to be all badass and jumps out of the Quinjet to try to land on the Bifrost, and then just like
That's what
smacks
I was
his
gonna
face
mention. Yep.
on the bridge. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're going for, but honestly, I kind of would have just preferred him to be the Hulk. If I'm being
I
honest.
agree. There's so many times where they go for the cheap joke instead of having like a strong, like Banner is sacrificing himself as far as he
Yeah.
knows. He doesn't know if he's ever going to come
Hmm.
back. And that could have been a really strong emotional moment. And instead they play it for a cheap slapstick
Hmm.
joke.
And then Fenrir
I
sniffs him, and then just kind of walks over him, and
yeah.
it's like, damn it, why couldn't you just be the Hulk and elbow drop it or something instead? That would have been so much more badass. But no, just goofy slapstick
I
humor.
mean, hell, if you even want to, like, this is a really minor one, but like when you first see Valkyrie and she's like looking all badass and she's drinking the thing, and then she falls off the ramp to the
Mm-hmm.
side, it was funny, but at the same time, it was just it like immediately undercuts her
Mm-hmm.
badassness, and
And
it's
it's
like,
not
oh,
like she's
okay, so
that drunk any time else in the movie. So I'm kind of wondering what the point was.
yeah,
Because yeah, they like to touch on how
because
she drinks, to forget the pain or whatever. But never
yeah,
again in the movie is that hindering her in any way.
I
She's
just
not a drunken kung fu
yeah,
master or
no, I
something. She's
agree.
just a burnout.
That would have been kind of interesting. They go like the Iron Fist route by having that one
Mm-hmm.
drunken dude. That would have been kind of cool. But yeah, I liked the movie. I did. I liked it quite a bit. But I feel that without like a strong story and a strong emotional core to the story, it feels kind of empty and devoid of any like I don't truly care about what's going on without that those emotional moments. And yeah. Oh, and this is like such a minor thing, but the Doctor Strange cameo, which I really did like. I was surprised at how early in the film it was. I thought it would happen like closer to the end, but like it was super super fast. Like it was in like in the first 10 minutes. Doctor
Mm-hmm.
Strange shows up, and
Well, it
it's
was
like, oh
the
shit,
exact
hello.
same scene from the end of Doctor Strange too, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, that was weird as well. But I thought that scene was weird because I thought the Doctor Strange seemed too powerful, if that makes
Yeah, for
sense.
the
Like the Doctor Strange that we know like could only perform like 3
Mm-hmm.
spells, and he used those spells as well as he could in his movie.
Well, yeah,
And I'm
well, I
not
mean,
like, and I really liked Doctor
and
Strange.
one of the best things about that Doctor Strange movie, which I'm pretty sure we talked about, was that he didn't beat
I
the
think so.
enemy by just being inherently better than them. He beat them with wit and guile,
By being
not
smart.
the fact that he was just
Yeah.
the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly. I agree completely. Yeah, we definitely talked about that. Yeah, he beat the enemy by being clever, not by being some like prophesized,
Super powerful,
perfect
inherently
warrior.
guy.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you're right. I
exactly.
think he was a lot more
Um,
powerful when we saw him in this movie than he was in his own movie. Which I don't know what the time frame
like he
difference
was
was.
he was so powerful in this movie that I had a really hard time. Like, I'm gonna have a really hard time in the future unless he's just as powerful in the future, or they can nerf him somehow that makes sense. Like, how could he ever lose to anybody? Like he took Loki, one of the most powerful villains. Well, not really, but like Loki was the main villain of the Avengers, and Doctor Strange sent him in a wormhole to like fall for
Yeah.
30 minutes.
He's also
Like Doctor
established to be a
Strange,
very powerful wizard, and basically just got dropped in a wormhole.
like like if Doctor Strange had been around during the Avengers, he could have taken down all of that shit by
Well,
himself.
okay, all right.
Like that,
Well, I
like
mean,
that's
first of all, it was for a joke, which is not fair. But second of all, I guess we could write it up to the fact that he didn't have the Mind Stone and the Tesseract at the time. I guess. I guess you.
I guess.
I mean, you're right though. The Doctor Strange shown for us in this movie was really not threatened by either of them at any point, and really would
Yeah.
have been
And
the most OPest
and don't
thing.
get me wrong. I did think it was funny and I did enjoy his scenes, but it like made me question things like, so is he gonna be this outrageously powerful in the future, or are they gonna have to nerf him in the future or something, or are they just gonna pretend that his cameo in Thor Ragnarok didn't really happen and he can't teleport all over the place all the time?
I mean,
Or
we could
whatever.
also
Like,
say that he can do that because he's in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and maybe that gives him
that's
extra power
I
or
suppose
something.
fair.
They're gonna have to find a
You
way
could
to make
argue
him
that.
not that powerful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be. I mean, the Eye of Dormammu, or not Dormammu, the God damn it, the Eye of the Thing.
The Eye of
Thank you, Eye of
Agamotto.
Agamotto does not
Yeah.
inherently increase his abilities, so having it taken away when Thanos shows up is not gonna weaken him really. It's just gonna make it so he can't
No.
undo everything right away.
Now, you could argue that maybe taking away like maybe destroying the Sanctorum or something, or cutting him off from the Sanctorum, that might weaken him. And another thing that was established in Doctor Strange is that a lot of the really really powerful spells are like attached to objects.
Yeah, I
So you
mean,
could you could just kind of take away some of those objects, and suddenly he's a lot less powerful.
yeah.
You
Well,
know
I
what I'm
mean, the
saying?
movie version of
Like
him only has the one. It's just
maybe.
the click of levitation, which, near as I can tell, just levitates. So, you know,
Yeah. Oh, and this is like another small thing about the Doctor Strange thing. Why was he wearing those big ass gloves? Is that a thing? Like, do I not know
Doctor
about that?
Strange.
Like, what is that? Yeah, Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok. He had like these big
Oh, I
glove
honestly
things.
didn't notice, but that is part of his costume.
Oh,
I mean, yeah.
is it? Okay, I just thought it was weird. Like, I was like, why is he wearing gloves? Like,
Maybe it's to cover up
he
his
looks
gross shattered
dorky.
fingers. Maybe
I
they're
guess.
maybe they're
I
the
don't know.
sacred gloves of Achman Rahu, and they like make all his fingers work.
I mean, they looked like utility gloves. Like they just like they're like these big yellow gloves. Like I was just like, oh, I'm okay.
God, maybe he's
Like,
Dexter's
oh, all right,
mom.
I
I
guess.
don't know.
I don't know. Whatever. So, unless you have any more negatives, do you
No,
have any
I'm
more
pretty much
negatives?
good.
Yeah, I'm pretty much good as well. So I think we can move on to our overall impressions, which we kind of have already been
Yeah,
talking about.
I mean, I thought it was
Uh,
good for sure. I think it's my favorite Thor movie, if nothing else.
oh yeah, I agree to that. I mean, is I sound probably overly negative talking about the lack of emotional scenes, but I really did like it as well, and I'm really glad that the movie had a personality compared to the other two Thor movies. And I really did enjoy it, and I liked most of it. I just think that there are a few key things that could have been much better if they had taken more time and had a different writer come in and write some of the stronger emotional moments so that it would have had more of an oomph. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like maybe dial back the comedy just a smidge once in a while so that you can really just like hit us in the gut and make us feel emotions, which I didn't really get to do in this movie. But yeah, I would say I really did enjoy it. I'm trying to decide on a number grade. Um, you know what? You go first. I'm still debating. So what number do you think we should
All
give
right,
this one?
seven.
Say yeah, I was thinking seven, maybe 7.5, like
It's
seven point
got a lot of
five.
good parts. I mean, I don't know
It
if the bad
does. It
things
does.
really ruin the experience necessarily for what it was trying to be anyway.
Yeah, like exactly. Like it was trying to be a comedy movie, and it did a good job at that. So it's like, I guess I have the problem where I didn't want it to be a straight up
No,
comedy. I
I know,
wanted
I know.
more.
But then you kind of have to get
Um,
into, are you grading it based on what you wanted it to be or what it actually wound up being? Because if I want it based on what I
exactly.
wanted it to be, it's only gonna get like a 4 because I wanted way more Hulk.
Yeah, right. Um, yeah, I think I'm thinking like a 7.5, just because the stuff that we did get to see was really fun and enjoyable. I think
All right,
seven
I'll
and a
meet you
half
at 7.5.
is about right. Yeah, all right, cool. So 7.5. I can't quite give it
No,
an
no, no.
8. I just don't think that's appropriate. So all right, 7.5 is our official review, and I'm sure a lot of people are probably pissed about that, but I don't really care. All right, so those are the complaints this week. If you can't complain, share it with your friends. Bye.